Hey there, everyone. So any minute now, the villain's gonna be on live. He says he wants to talk for a little bit. Uh, and any minute now. But anyway, I'll just keep checking to see when he's live and bring it to you. Let's see. Do I have both? Oh. Yeah, it'll be any time. Yeah, it'll be any time now. Let's see. So we have a second. So, how's everybody doing? I know that. When did I fall asleep? The last group. The last group that what was behind was the ones that were in back of the fence. I'm trying to remember last night in Portland, but anyway. Hey Ted, how you doing? Yeah, and you're not gonna believe this, but since I haven't got much sleep in the last week or so, that was about. It was only about 1 in the morning. It must have been, and I fell asleep. I didn't wake up till 11 this morning, and I'm not that type to sleep in. I'm a morning person actually, so that was kind of weird. I guess that I'm gonna be checking this every minute here, so we don't miss it. Let's see. Okay, we're still waiting for him. Yeah, so but anyway, the point I was getting to is that I don't know if you looked online at the completely twisted news. If you just on social media about Portland last night, all you got to do is just create a search for Portland, for hashtag Portland protests, and you'll see what I mean. How they're calling it all kinds of stuff, authoritarian and all that stuff. When all that happened was these guys who have been vandalizing, rioting, attacking cops, setting fires, all that kind of, and I'm only mentioning a few things, finally got pushed out from doing all their crap. And then so you should see they're calling it all kinds of stuff, but except the truth. But let me check again. Yeah, 105 degrees here. 105 degrees here in Vegas at 1:30. So it hasn't been as hot. Usually it'd be 110 by now. Let's see. Okay, then let me see if he gave an update on Twitter real quick. Okay, no wonder. Yeah. So, Bill said 2 minutes ago, technical difficulty. Please stand by. So again, it'll be in any minute now. Yeah. So you're nice and cool and yeah, I bet. I miss the Northwest. I only spent a few years up there, but yeah, I love the cool climate, man. I don't. The rain never bothered me. Nothing. I loved it. I loved it. It was a nice ride. It was a good time. I had a really really good time up there. The branch I was running uh, was Pacific Northwest Wire, which is in Kent, which is just the south end of Seattle, and that was I was the plant manager. So about every couple of weeks or so, I'd drive down to Portland, which is where our corporate was, for a meeting, and we just talk and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm familiar with very familiar with the route between Seattle and Portland, very much so. Just doing that every couple of weeks. And but what was nice is the company that was up in Kent or Seattle. They recruited me from another job I was at, and they paid me real well. It was a nice job, and man, I had three girls, two at the time when I was up in Seattle. We didn't have our third baby until after, but oh man, I always went to the waterfront.
Test.
Just seemed like every weekend. With my girls. I mean, I had to go downtown Seattle for meetings and stuff for business, but let's see.
Audio? How's audio, you guys? Yes.
Whoops.
Hear me?
He's live.
See anybody responding to audio?
Let me turn that. Sorry, guys, and I will be quiet in just a second.
Alright, guys. How you guys doing? Want to give an update on what's going on?
So I'm gonna pull up. You know what? I'm gonna pull up his Twitch instead.
First off, the reason why I was delayed, I started the stream and it immediately crashed, and then somehow I couldn't get it. It wasn't letting me go live, so I'll deal with that later. I guess there's no reason saying it. Anyways, I'll just upload this to YouTube and link it to Facebook later so you guys can watch. But anyways, I'm having tech difficulties. I'm kind of low tech right now. Hopefully that'll be all fixed up tomorrow. So you guys know that on Sunday I'm gonna hold on one second. There's the issue. I'm gonna Nice to hear your voice. Thank you. Just want to see if that audio is working again on this restart. And we're back. Audio. Someone let me know if the audio is working. Audio, yes. Thank you. All right, guys. So you guys know I told you about what happened on last Sunday when, after the peace rally, Oregonians for Peace, me and Andy, Portland Andy, got chased through downtown Portland by a gang of Antifa. So I'll touch on that again real quick. So group, I'm not sure how many there were total. You can only see a few of them on camera. I watched the video finally, and you never see the whole group on the stream. There was somewhere between 8 and 12 of them. They were splitting up and going around different blocks, trying to pigeonhole us and corner us into bottlenecks. But anyways, that actually wasn't that scary for me. It just made me angry, and you can see that if you've seen the stream of Andy's, where I just start going off on politicians here in Portland for allowing this to happen. The Pacific Northwest is a pretty safe place in general, so for me to see in broad daylight in the middle of downtown a group of people dressed in a gang fashion chasing people through town was pretty infuriating. I don't want that to become the norm here in the Pacific Northwest, and I don't want that to become the norm in the U.S. So I was furious about that, and I think that came through in the rant that I put in later that night. But so the next day, I took a little time off. Actually, that Sunday night, I went out with a couple people to the protest, and we were gauging whether we wanted to go out and video or just go amongst them. And we decided to just watch from afar and not provoke things that night and just fill things out. So we didn't really go into the midst of things that night. The next day, as I mentioned on my feed, I decided to take a day of rest and just relax and catch up on things. Apparently that night at North Precinct, there was a pretty big demonstration. People hit up the Portland Union Hall up in North Portland. They drive past there on my way to where I was staying that night, and got a picture. They had a giant banner flying in the sky with some balloons. It said "Defund the Police." But then later on that night, pretty late, I decided to go walk by the Justice Center just to see if anything was going on down there, and there really wasn't much. This is Monday night. And then I got jumped a few blocks away from the Justice Center in downtown Portland. It was just two guys. They were white guys. They were dressed in black. I don't know if that means that they were part of the protest, part of the Antifa, or any of that. It didn't really say too much that led me to be certain on that. But they stole my phone. They roughed me up a little bit, but once they got my phone, they just took off. Luckily, I don't carry anything else on me, like my wallet or anything. But I did lose my phone. Didn't get beat up really too much. I think I broke my nose a little bit, but it was like a minor little thing. It wasn't something I had to go get hospitalized for. So, needless to say, that was something I was pretty freaked out about. I spoke to Unfiltered Christian about that the next day, if any of you follow him on Twitter or YouTube. And I think we were both pretty amped up about that. I've also been experiencing cybersecurity issues. And I don't know if that's all to do with my position on videoing these protests and the attentions I'm getting, or if that's just partially that and partially what's been going on the last couple of weeks. Because before I started getting known for my videos, I had people attempting to access my accounts from all over the place, and I can't really attribute those to my actions filming the protests. So anyways, I lost my phone. I was locked out of some of my accounts for various different reasons, hacking and just you lose your phone, you lose your whole world, you know. Some of that stuff is hard to replace after that. And so I immediately got a burner phone. I got a second burner phone, and I worked on restoring my phone number. Right now I'm on a low-tech phone. I'm still waiting for higher tech that I'll be able to stream and do things more quality work on. And I'm sorry if I'm speaking low or slow or rambling right now, but I'm just kind of spitting all this off the top of my head. So to recap on that, I'm not sure who was behind that attack. It looks like it might have been just a random mugging, which, even if it was just that's part of a result of these riots and unrest, because that kind of stuff doesn't typically happen in the Portland area or the downtown area unless you're just placing yourself in the wrong area or provoking people. It's a pretty safe place, so you can walk around and pretty much people aren't going to attack you like that. But I guess there's a first time for everything. So that happened about 1 o'clock Monday night downtown, a couple blocks away from the Justice Center. That would have been early Tuesday morning. Touch the screen here. So since then, I've been really evaluating where I'm going to go from here. I don't know if you guys have been watching the streams and watching the news or watching a few things I've been putting out, but more people are starting to get attacked at the protest. There was an elderly man attacked the other day. Last night there were several journalists, independent journalists, and most of those that as far as I understand, were actually pro-protest, and they were attacked, and even journalists are attacking each other. So some people are suggesting that's increasing. Some people would suggest that's just happening because there's more of a Fed presence. I don't really want to speculate on all that right now, but it is getting less safe to film at the protests for everyone in general, especially people that aren't in complete favor 100% with the movement. So I'm trying to think about how to go forward like that. One thing, if I go in there on my own, as I've done, to try to get those candid interviews and those candid shots, that puts me at great risk for targeted attack. People are, as you guys know, focused on me and trying to do me ill in many different ways. If I go in there with enough security, which is actually hard to organize, I expected it to be easier, but it's not. It's hard to get a bunch of people to show up willing to go do that. But if I do that, that creates a presence that's going to make it hard for me to get good shots because people are going to be surrounding us. It's going to make it near impossible for me to get candid interviews with people that open up because they're not going to open up as they do one-on-one. I do want to start interviewing local business owners to see how all this has happened, how it's affected them. I do plan on possibly going to some larger conventions or protests around the country if I'm able to, if I can make the means to do that work out. I did speak to Freight Broker live. I know a lot of you have been pushing me to get in contact with him, and he's been shouting out to me on his show. I'll be doing an interview with him tomorrow night, Saturday night, later in the evening. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm thinking about going to the Republican National Convention in August. That'll give me a chance to do some more right-wing interviews, which I've really been wanting to do because all my interviews have been focused on the people at the protests are largely left-wing. But right now, I'm still trying to lock down my security, trying to learn how to have a higher grade of cyber and internet security so that I don't lose access through fault of my own or through technical issues or through malintent of others. I'm trying to upgrade my equipment right now, as I have been. So it's going to be a work in progress to see how I move forward from here. A lot of people are giving me a lot of suggestions how I can still film these riots and film these events without putting myself in danger. And I'm also worried about putting other people in danger because there's a lot of people that interact with me and I don't want there to be any guilt by association. But another thing I want to think about is that what am I doing? And I've been really focusing on my motive and my intent behind all this. So originally, as I've told you guys many times before, if you've been following me, I started filming this just out of curiosity back in May, the end of May. And then I started documenting it more and more because it was just very interesting to me, and also all the media outlets were telling a different story than what I was seeing on the ground. But in the grand scheme of things, my focus, I've been wanting to come on and make a social media presence for years and years, and I've just been trying to get myself together and well tailored before that happened. So this kind of just pushed me out into that spot before I was intending to. But my main focus is on truth. I would call myself a truther. I like philosophy and theology and the meanings of life and why societies do certain things or become certain things and how people can find hope and find happiness and how I can find hope and happiness and truth and to create conversations about that. And also, I want the dialogue to happen between the far differing beliefs in the U.S. and throughout other places. I want people that don't agree with each other to start talking more so there's less division. And so how that brings back to the riot is I have thoroughly documented the riots. I have shown that they are not largely peaceful protests. I have shown many different things that go on in there. I have and that wasn't even my original intent, to expose anything. I'm not out there to try to expose anything. I'm not out there to try to get people in trouble. I'm not out there to try to expose people's agenda. I am purely out there to see what was happening and see the truth about what's happening on the ground. And I've wanted to see people's perspectives as what's motivating them and why they're doing that. And to a large extent, I've done that. So going out and live streaming the riots every night, while a lot of people want to see that, a lot of times it's just filming the same thing over and over and over and over. And I'll get little interesting things here and there, like the gunfire in Portland the other night, or every once in a while a fight will break out, or I caught the guy that broke into the federal building with a hammer. I got a good shot of that. And one of the bigger things was when I filmed that lady walking her baby around in front of the riot cops while everything was very tumultuous and putting her baby in danger. But aside from capturing the overall picture of the riots, which I think I have, it's kind of just an entertainment for people to watch it over and over and over and over. And I'm not judging anybody. If you want to watch that and get every little detail that happens and get the up-to-date pulse on everything, awesome. And I still want to keep reporting on what is happening on the ground here. I'm just not so sure the risk versus reward level of going in there and filming those same activities over and over and over is going to be that great. But if I can find a niche to do that, I would like to. And some people have given me some very good ideas that I won't mention on here. So as far as Portland right now, many of you will know the feds have started coming in unmarked minivans, and I believe they're U.S. Marshals. They're dressed in camo like soldiers, are snatching people up quietly without saying anything to them and just grabbing them and throwing in the van and arresting them. You'll have seen that several weeks ago in D.C. People are circulating the video from D.C. right now as though it's happening. Those are videos from Portland. They're not. Those are different events, but it's happened in several cities. And I believe the acting director of the FBI is here, and I believe that he went and spoke to Ted Wheeler and put pressure on them. Immediately after that happened, the city put fencing up around all the parks in front of the Justice Center and closed that off. Last night, I was expecting that to one at the Southeast Precinct and one at the Justice Center. I hear that they assaulted the 7-Eleven. They did a raid, a grab raid in the 7-Eleven early this morning and kind of stole all their merchandise. But they did have kind of strong numbers at both places yesterday. But I'm expecting to see a stronger federal presence in the next couple of days, since there's so many high-ranking officials coming to Portland right now and visiting, and I think to put pressure on the city. So that is basically an update of what's going on with me right now. I know that a lot of rumors were going around that somebody had gotten control of my accounts and that it wasn't actually me tweeting out. It's me. You guys can hear my voice and see me now, so I am safe. I wasn't hurt that bad. Broke my nose a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. And I haven't actually been scared. I know the point of why they do these kind of things is to scare people. It's just made me very, very, very angry. And as my rant stated last Sunday, I've come more and more through all this in the last, 50 days now, to just love my country and to love the safety we have here, and to love the protection. I value what our officers and soldiers have to do and what they have to go through in order to provide the safety in our country. And on that, I'll mention that in watching all this, one thing has become very, very clear to me that I never saw before in life is it's how fragile civil society is and civilization is. As I see these waves of just anger and violence and unrest just rippling through people at the protests. And I mentioned this a little bit before, but I've seen people that are at the protests becoming radicalized, just the nicest people in the world, just there to watch, or just there to support a cause, to end police brutality, or just to speak up for somebody they care about. And they're not really intense, not violent, not vulgar, not provocative, not antagonizing to the police, not provoking the police or anything like that, not throwing anything. And then in probably the last week, I've seen like a radical shift in anger and just intensity from people that are going from really passive to very, very actively rebellious. And those same kind people have become the ones that are throwing things at the police and provoking the police and agitating the crowd, and that's disturbing to watch. And I think that touches on what I was saying about how fragile civilization can be. It's kind of takes faith in a sense that we all have to believe that if we're kind to each other and that we get along and we treat each other the way we want to be treated, that things will work out. But when we stop acting that way, it goes through the society and affects people. And I think I see that happening in Portland right now, and I hope that can stop. I hope I can find a way, and I hope many of you can find a way to continue creating dialogue and talk to those you don't agree with, and even those that you viscerally oppose. Because in the end, it does us no good to be divided and to hate each other, and it does you no good if something bad happens to somebody else, you know. I think that's basically the end of my rant right now. I'm safe. I'm getting back on track with my security, my cybersecurity, my physical security. I've got to get my equipment back together. Obviously, I'm still having glitches as far as I wasn't able to get on Facebook here. But so that's about it. So I'm going to try to read the chat a little bit. I'll ask if I have more than one mod or anybody in there to try to slow it down a little bit. And anybody that's just throwing up hellos and that sort of thing, I'll ask you to stop that for right now. I appreciate you being here. But if anybody just has a question, I'd ask you to throw those up. And if moderators are able to help that process, that would be great. The youth have been infected with hate. Yeah, it's sad watching it. Some of them are really nice people, and they become like justifying things that are just not great. Yeah, Shanks, I'm thinking about that. White supremacist rally protest. Can you slow the chat down? Somebody just asked about Soul talking about a white supremacist rally or something. I'd like to see that. And while, if everybody can do me a favor, just stop chatting for just a moment and let that chat come up about Soul and the white supremacist rally. But I do want to say one other thing that I wanted to quash a rumor. I'm getting accused of sending my followers after people. I have never done that. I will never do that. I have heard through the grapevine that Soul, and I think they're called AaronCwell, were banned from live streaming. I had nothing to do with that. I heard that maybe my followers were reporting them for abusing terms of service on those platforms and maybe harassing people and stalking people and trying to get people to hurt or trying to get people followed in a negative way. If people were harassing people, I'd say, yeah, report that, do that. There's nothing wrong with that. If there was a whole group of you that did that, fine. If you guys are trying to dox people or trying to hurt people or trying to just harass people, I want nothing to do with that, you know. That's the far left that does that kind of stuff. And you got to remember the book Animal Farm. Those who come to power, the pigs that come to power, just put on the same suit that the power before had, and then it's like a wheel that happens, and whoever is in power oppresses, and the next power rises up and they oppress, and the next power rises up. So if those of you who are following me are in line with the free speech, you're in line with the freedom, you're in line with respecting each other, you're patriotic for your country, I'd ask you not to become what you're fighting against. Don't harass people, don't dox people, don't get people in trouble unnecessarily. If people are hurting people, report that. Do what you can to get people to stop harming people or to stop causing people damage through crime and property attacks. But if anybody is thinking they're doing something in my name by harassing people or are harming people or being just toxic and criminal in nature, I don't want it. I don't want anything to do with that. I've never asked anybody to do that, and I don't want you guys to do it. something like that. But if you guys are seeing people attack me, yeah, report them. Have my back on that. Thank you so much. So I ranted on that, and I don't know if that came up, but someone said, I guess someone will have to send me a message on one of my DMs about that, something about Seoul mentioning a white supremacist rally. I would love to go to one of those and interview people there and see what they're thinking and why they get caught up in stuff like that, if there actually is one of those going on. For those who chimed in, can you give a quick rundown on the major events that occurred since your last stream? My last stream, before my last stream, a group of Antifa chased me and Portland Andy through town, threatening to kill us. It made me angry but not scared. Most of those guys were very, very small, but there were a large group of them. After that, the next day, I took a day of rest. Late at night, about 1 o'clock, I was walking downtown, and I got jumped by 2 white guys. They were dressed in black. I don't know. I think it might have been just a random mugging. But they stole my phone. I've also had internet security hacks. I've also had just tech issues that have caused me to go into the stone age of the internet for the last several days. But I am fixing all that, so and I'm trying to move forward from here and decide how I can continue doing my goal of trying to create dialogue and to spread hope and help people to build structures in their psyche to where they can see the world in a hopeful way rather than a depressing way. I'm working on how that goes forward from here. I am looking to go to some other events in different places. Do you hear the Soluna on PT News Networks yesterday say that he was fine, that 2 kids died inside Chad's? Yeah, I heard about that. It's not the greatest thing to say, right? Sol was saying that he didn't really care about the 2 kids. I don't know if both of them had died in Chad's because he says it created change, but it was, I guess, a willing casualty. He was okay with those casualties for the movement, but that's not great. And then whoever was asking about just chiming in, I will be doing a stream or an interview tomorrow on PT or Freight Broker, whichever you know that as. Someone says they're new to Twitch. How do I DM? You just go up into the chat box and I guess click on me, or I prefer people DM me on other platforms. Twitch's DMs, they're called whispers. They're kind of not the most user-friendly thing to sort through. You see some looks like Chinese characters, I think. I'm not too. I don't know how to read those at all. So if they're not Chinese, don't be offended. But there's some Asian character writing there. So hello to whoever's writing in that. What does she know about the Boogaloo movement? I don't really know about the Boogaloo movement too much. I actually wonder if that's just an outside label to label conservatives that are Second Amendment people. I'm not sure. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know. Concrete Reporting was wanting to interview you when they were there in town, Bill Phoenix. Well, he has my contact, so I didn't. He told me he was thinking about getting in touch with me, but he never did. So I think they're in New York right now. PA on Twitter. Thank you. The tomorrow with Freight Broker is going to be tomorrow night around, I think, after 10. So free Hong Kong. Yeah, I'm a free Hong Kong. Free Hong Kong. Yes, I would consider patriots as security, but it's hard to organize them to actually make it happen and get everybody to meet up at a certain time. So I'm reading the chat right now. I'm looking for any questions, you guys. Probably get off here pretty soon. But if you guys do have any quick questions, I'd like to answer those. Christie 1776. Did you happen to get my stream on the night of I think it was July 3rd or July 4th that was a riot? That stream was a very, very good stream, but it didn't. Somehow it got set to not save on my thing. You're going to attempt to meet with Secretary Wolf today. Yeah, tell Andy to reach out to me. I think he's been hesitant too because he wasn't sure it was me. Well, document your work, possible level Portland. Some of you that are sending me bigger things, please send those into me in an email or a DM, preferably on Twitter or my email, thevillainreport@gmail.com. That's just too much for me to read as this is going by. Concrete and others from Seattle are coming. Is that to the meeting today? If anybody wants to send me the details about that meeting, I'll try to head down there to it. Do I have plans to go back to nightly reporting? I mentioned that again, so I won't go over that again to just for sake of time here, but just rewatch the stream. I'll upload it to YouTube later too, and I do talk about how I'm going to try to move forward here. One of the big things right now in the distance is I will try to go to the Republican National Convention. I think I might be teaming up with Freight Broker there, but that's in August. I'm going to try to go out there for that in Florida, so hopefully I'll be able to get the means together and all the timing and planning for that, and hopefully that'll work out. Self-defense is okay in Portland. Yeah, self-defense is okay in anywhere. Even if they outlaw it, you should still, what do they say? You'd rather be judged by a team of 12 than carried by 6. Daytime. Any of you guys that are telling me about these medias that you're throwing up in here, these events, please DM them to me so I can sort through them and look at them. Solo's planning to go. Bill Phoenix. Tonight is going to get crazy in Portland. Eric Garner's anniversary. Oh, yeah. I'm actually, one of the things that I'm very against was Eric Garner's death. He was, again, his health was an issue in that situation. I don't think that would have happened to a healthy person. He was very overweight, but still, they used force on him until he died because he was selling single cigarettes against the law. And that's insane. That's completely just wrong at so many levels. How do I define the silent majority? The silent majority isn't something I define. It's a term that I use because it's known. It's basically the idea that most of a majority of the country is conservatives that mind their own business and don't push themselves on others and want peace and are patriotic. But when push comes to shove, they stop being silent and start showing their force. And that's starting to happen right now. There's a lot of people are pointing out that there's a wave of patriotic protests and pro-police protests that are going over the country because the silent majority is tired of seeing things like the riots going unchecked. See some hot dogs there, so political spectrum. So I don't like to give myself labels. I think labeling yourself too intently is kind of like something to hide behind. But I like libertarianism, except I don't think libertarians take care of other people enough. They're too inward focused on their group. So I think that people should be able to do whatever they want in life as long as they're not hurting anybody until they start hurting somebody. But I also think that we have a strong obligation, a moral conviction to help out our fellow man, our brothers. You can't just build your household and your castle and keep the people in your castle safe. That's great. But once you achieve that, you need to start helping those outside of your castle. Classical liberal would somewhat describe me. So all those, bunch of those labels that kind of float around together are somewhat of what I think. I don't like to box myself in because I'm stubborn and contentious and a free thinker. Censorship of the right-leaning conservatives on social platforms shows that the silent majority might not be as large as some suppose. No, I think that the censorship of conservatives on social media shows that those in power in the tech industry are largely left-leaning people that like to censor. I don't think that it shows a demographic or a picture of the population in America or in the world in general. It's just a lot of people in power in tech have... Someone's saying something about the elk gang. I don't know what that is, but that sounds cool. But a lot of people in the tech industry are left-leaning, or at least a lot of them that have the power are left-leaning and believe in a lot of the Elk Defense Force. Yeah, they believe in censorship. As we've seen, I don't know if you guys saw that Twitter was hacked really bad the other day, and it looks like they hacked those accounts like Gates and Bezos and Obama just to gather attention and throw their flag up that the hack happened. But it looks like their purpose was to point out that Twitter employees have too much access to personal information of people's accounts. They've been shown to be giving industry and the social media platform representatives. They've been shown time and time again to have a very, very strong bias and will give people's information out. The stream, I'd like to blame my stream failing there on saying that, but I'm on a very low tech phone right now, and it was just that was on my end. People say the silent majority, but how do you explain their election results? You mean how the conservatives elected their person? That kind of falls in line with the silent majority. You ever tried DMT before? I have never tried DMT before. I'm not against. I'm for the legalization of drugs. I think that it would be nice if people wanted to do that, they could go to a safe clinic with trained people there that could help you not overdose or help you not have bad trips. But in general, just recreational drug use, I think, is usually stupid and dangerous. All right, I'm gonna put a time on this. I think about 2 more minutes. I'm gonna pop off of here. Thanks. How about the electoral vote? Isn't that a balance out rule, conservatives? The electoral vote is to keep the population from mob rule and to keep communism from happening. Well, it wasn't put in place for communism, but that's one of the effects of it, to keep people from voting as a mob. Democracy, unchecked, just becomes a mob. You're just kicked from my stream for no reason? That might have been a tech glitch when I shut down, hopefully. But they have been shadow banning me and causing people to lose me in their friends list and their follow list. So yeah, we're Democratic Republic. So there's a lot that's done to erode that and to turn it into a straight democracy. If you guys, I know a lot of people don't like Prager University. I don't know why he decided to name it a university. That's annoying. But, sorry, I'm reading the chat here. If you want to check out Prager University, he has a video of the different kind of governments and how basically there's only 2 kind of governments because all the other governments eventually collapse into each other. But you should check that out. That'll kind of give some ideas on how democracy usually turns into totalitarianism. Thanks, you guys, for letting me know you're glad I'm good and safe and everything. Thank you guys for throwing up my information on there. Just to let you guys know, I do appreciate donations, and I do appreciate you helping me buy equipment and move forward from here. Definitely in getting my phone replaced was helpful to have had you guys been giving me donations. But as I said in this, and if you're just now tuning in, just rewatch the video when you get a chance. I am going to move forward differently somewhat. Because I can't just do what I've been doing in the exact same way because of the attention that I've got and because the mobs are not only targeting me but each other now, so it's not as safe. So I'm going to have to be tailoring, but I do still want to move forward. I do want to create dialogue with people. I want to keep putting out live video of different events, and I will keep you guys up to date on that more on my platforms. So it's saying several times to get on Discord. I have Discord downloaded, I just haven't got into it yet, so I will be getting more into that. I'm going to be checking things out like Parler and DLive. I do have a a BitChute. Haven't used it yet, but I will. And if you guys want to send me information on that kind of stuff, I appreciate it. If it's just quick links to files, maybe Twitter DMs are good to do that. But if you want to like share something with me or teach me something, sometimes it's easier for you to send that to my email, the Villain Report. It's easier to sort through those things on there. So you can replenish. That is nice of you, yakety yak. And so, one thing I'll say again, I've mentioned this several times, I am super excited. I'm planning on going to the Republican National Commission. I was just informed of that recently and when and where it's happening. But I want to do that. I so want to interview a whole lot of really far right people or very strongly conservative people. After I've spent so much time interviewing liberals, I would like to interview the other side and see how their brains work and what their beliefs are, and let you guys see that. And I want to ask them some really tough, hard questions. So I'm going to do about another minute. Has anybody else got anything to say before I pop off of here? And please, somebody give me the information in a DM or my email about the event that's going on today in Portland with, I believe it's a FBI official or whatever the event that Portland Andy says he's probably headed to. Oh, I want to thank you guys for all your encouragement and everything you're doing to help me. There's just outpouring of kindness from you guys and support, and I really, really appreciate you. I don't know if you realize how far that goes. But it's really valuable, you guys, to have people out there supporting me, letting me know that you care if these things happen to me, and you care about my reporting, and that I'm making a difference for some of you, or I'm helping people to see the other side a little bit different. But I really appreciate the feedback and you guys' kindness. 1 minute, he wants me to explain calculus. Well, back in the Black Death, Isaac Newton tried to stay away from just joking there. Doing a great job. Thank you, guys. And I'm also trying to really narrow in the line between my views and objectivity. Obviously, I started expressing a lot more of my views last weekend after Antifa chased me, because I do want the country to be safe. I don't want stuff like that to become a normal. So I was going to the Trump rally, but only to confront another streamer that was using his feed. Send me where that Trump rally is happening. I want to go. I'll go there. And Soul, if you're watching, I don't have any beef with you. I've talked with you a few times, a little bit. I don't know much about you. I don't try to listen to rumors, whatever, but so some people seem to like you and want your feed to go out there, and some people don't. I think that you should be out there streaming and sharing your point of view, whatever it is, free speech, man. We need a full lecture about cross product. Thank you guys for saying safe. DHS boss really lucked out in the name department. Chad Wolf, dude looks like a Chad too. All right, I think I'm gonna call it. So I'm gonna pop off of here, and I will be in touch with you guys. Thanks for being concerned for me, and thanks for tuning in my chat here. And I'll try to throw this up on Facebook as fast as I can, and YouTube, so that people who weren't able to see it can. All right, I'm gonna say goodbye, you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Okay, Villain Phoenix, everyone. Don just asked what time what time I'm going live. I'm gonna end this stream right now. That way, it's a segment when you go to my YouTube videos. This is Bill in Phoenix. I don't want to continuously run this Bill in Phoenix and then showing our breaking news like we usually do. I want this to be one segment of Bill in Phoenix. So it's probably going to be in about a half hour, something like that, because I want to check my my social media and a couple things and get set up right with what's going on. I want to thank everybody who's here. I see, Don, of course, Jen, Dugon, DK, Ted, of course, Don I mentioned because she asks when I'm going live. Yeah, I'll be live from in a half hour from now, all the way through till when the Portland stuff ends tonight. So it's a marathon again. I'll have it on. I'll be live. Anybody else have any questions or comments before I end this segment? It's okay. Yeah, it sounds good. All right, sure, Don. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna end this segment, and I will have a new one starting a new live segment in just a little while, within an hour, like I said. And thank you all for coming.